Hi guys, today we're going to talk about Kumihimo braiding or weaving. Welcome to Fibers with Miss Robinson. So let's talk about what it is. Kumihimo comes from an ancient form of Japanese braiding where the fibers were interlaced. It means gathering threads, and samurai used to use it as a decorative and functional way to lace their armor and their horse's armor. The materials you're going to need are a piece of cardboard or a toilet paper tube, and then one of these types of string. So I've got embroidery floss, yarn, or t-shirt yarn. I actually made a video on making t-shirt yarn. If you're interested, it's on this channel. Today we're going to use t-shirt yarn. So first, let's look at the cardboard disc. You can make this out of any kind of cardboard. I used a box that I had laying around. I would suggest something a little thicker for the t-shirt yarn because by the time I finished my rope, it was pretty flimsy. So I would, if you've got thicker cardboard, use that for the t-shirt yarn. This kind of cardboard works perfect for embroidery floss and yarn. Also, you can use something with a little bit bigger circumference. So like if you have a lotion container or a bowl, it would give you a little bit bigger circumference to weave on, and that would be helpful in this case because our t-shirt yarn is so thick. So I'm dividing it into 8 sections. You can see I started with a cross shaped like a T, and then I divided each of those sections into one more section. And now I'm going to take my scissors and start snipping slits about 1 inch to 1.5 inches deep into the cardboard. If you have got a bigger circumference, like a bowl size, then you might want to do up to 2 inches. Now you're going to take something sharp. I usually use a pencil to make a hole in the middle, and I'm going to use the scissors to kind of widen the hole because all 7 strands of yarn are going to have to fit in this hole. You're going to need 7 strands of yarn. So I'm going to get my 7 strands together, matching their ends, and I'm just going to do a knot on the very end, and I'm going to pull it pretty tight. I like to slide my knot to the very end so that I don't waste yarn. I'm going to thread the loose ends through so that the knot will be on the back side. And then I'm going to separate each of my 7 into the slots, and you'll have one that's empty. So let's look. I'm going to count 3 every time. Pick up the 3rd one, go to the empty slot. I like to turn it every time so that the empty one is at the bottom. I count 3, move the 3rd one into the empty slot. It doesn't matter whether you do this on the left side or the right side. I always work from the right because I'm right-handed, but you can work from the left. It doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you do it consistently every time. So the 3rd one into that slot, and then you're going to spin it around. 1, 2, 3, move it over, and then every once in a while you're going to need to pull the tail from the bottom so that you don't get too much working on top, and you can see that I'm pulling down. You also might want to take your hands and kind of rake through those strings on the bottom so that you don't get them too tangly. And here's what it looks like. Now let's talk about the cardboard tube. So another way to do it is just using a toilet paper tube. You can see I'm going to mark one side, fold it in half, and mark the other. I'm kind of trying to make even sections, and so I fold it the opposite way and then draw a line in between. I'm going to take my scissors and cut 1.5 to 2 inch slits this time. And I've got my 7 strands of yarn. I'm going to get all the ends together, and then I'm going to tie them. And I like to pull that knot to the very end so that I can use all of my yarn. I'm going to put the knot inside, and then I'm going to start separating the strands into each of the slots. So I've got 8 slots. I'm going to have 1 left that's empty, and that's where I'll be moving to. Just like with the disc, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, pick it up, move it into the empty slot. Count 1, 2, 3, pick it up, move it into the empty slot. Again, you can work from the left, but you just need to do it consistently. I'm right-handed, so I work from the right. At some point, you're going to need to add more yarn, so let's talk about that. With t-shirt yarn, the thing that you're going to need to do is make sure that you have a slit at the very end of your yarn. You can see I'm folding it in half, taking the point of my scissors and cutting a little snip, and that makes a hole. When you're attaching it, you're going to slide the new yarn through the old yarn, the hole in the old yarn, and then it's going to flip in on itself. The new yarn is going to flip in the hole on itself. So let's do that again. You're going to take the end, fold it over, make a snip to make the hole that it doesn't. That's going to give you the hole in that end. You're going to place the new yarn through the hole in the old yarn. Grab the tail of the new yarn and then slide it through itself. And this is what it should look like. So now how do you take it off of the loom? When you're finished, take it off the loom and just tie a knot on the end. So I'm going to show you here with the disc. I'm just pulling each of the strands out. They might all be different lengths. I cut them off at the end to make them the same. You're going to tie them all in a knot. Now you know how to do Kumihimo braiding or weaving. I can't wait to see what you'll make. I would love to see some ideas of what you can turn these into. Please share.